All right, we'll jump in with one of our first case studies here. So let's set the stage. SHRM, that's the Society for Human Resource Management, they wanted to create a learning experience for new managers. Now, SHRM is the largest HR organization, and this is their People Manager Qualification or their PMQ program. And something I think is interesting is this training really gets at this important moment in someone's career, right? So think about, you've been made a manager, but you've never done this before. Like that's a really vulnerable moment for someone. And that's what this particular training is all about. So the program has 13 hours of learning. And, I think the mandate in that was like, okay, how do we make this bingeable? How do we make it something that people will enjoy taking? But even to the extent that they would want to talk to their friends about it too. And for SHRM, a program like this, it's a really important way for them to support the growth of HR professionals. And SHRM is so good at doing this. And it also represents a really important revenue stream for them, right? So by offering these kinds of top tier certifications, they provide a huge amount of value to the HR community. And they're also generating significant revenue for their association. And all of that just further solidifies their role as a thought leader and an influencer in the field. When we sat down to work on the design for this, we knew that we wanted to tell a great story. We wanted to really connect people right from the start. And we love to take inspiration from the creative world around us. So we had this idea, what if we follow six friends who are all new managers? They're meeting up at this coffee shop and sharing their experiences. And that might sound a little bit reminiscent of an old favorite TV show, if you know Friends. And this credential program was a play on that kind of story. In the end, we had a cast of more than 50 characters in the program. And we think a lot about how we're representing diversity in all of those characters and designing to be sure that every learner finds someone in that mix that they feel like they can relate to. And, it was a lot of fun. We had everyone from a postal worker to a pet parrot. So quite the spectrum along the way. In this first episode, we follow Elle, who has just been promoted. And like many new managers, she's excited, but she is also nervous. And she's listening to her friends' reactions, and she starts to feel this thing we call FOMO, or fear of messing up. And this feeling, if you have ever been a new manager, it is very real and it can really hold you back from making confident decisions. I think it's something we've all experienced, and we know we have this big opportunity, but we're scared of messing it up. So thankfully, Lainey, her friend, steps in with some great advice, and they talk about achieving quick wins. And, quick wins are this important management skill that helps new managers gain early confidence as they're delivering value to their teams. And all of those small victories along the way help build momentum for the manager and for the team. And then as the episode progresses, Elle looks to her friends for examples of how they've navigated their own challenges as new managers. Each character shares a story, making this part of the learning journey that's really highly interactive. Learners can engage with the characters, they can hear different perspectives, they can relate all of those stories back to their own experiences. And so, in the end, by deepening the learning, what we're really doing is encouraging the learners to take part in this self reflection activity. So, in this example, they're thinking about their own work environment, they're identifying quick wins that they could achieve right now. And by reflecting on what they've learned and applying it to their own situation, they can bridge that gap between theory and practice. And we make sure that they walk away with these really actionable insights. So I would say this certificate program was really all about that idea of bridging the gap between the learning and the real world. And in this case, we did that with a lot of great stories and characters to really make the learning relatable.
Thank you, Annie. I know that I binge watched my way through many of those PMQ episodes, so definitely hit that mandate. One of my favorite things about this program is the creative approach to assessment. It's super interactive and really interesting and part of the story. Jane, I know you were involved in creating those assessments. Could you share a little bit about how you did that with us?
Sure. A critical piece of any credentialing program is making sure that the assessments accurately measure both the key management skills and the performance objectives. So, to achieve this, we worked closely with the psychometrician, Barbara. Barbara played a critical role in designing these assessment scenarios. She suggested the initial setup for each scenario, making sure that the situations would challenge learners in meaningful ways. Then one of our learning experience designers took that setup and wrote the full scenario. But Barbara's expertise didn't end there. She made sure that each scenario mapped directly to both the program objectives and behavioral indicators, guaranteeing that the assessments were both valid and reliable measures of a learner's skills. This collaboration between the learning experience design team and our psychometrician made sure that the assessments were not only engaging, but also rigorous, helping learners truly earn their credential.